CTV News at 6 with Joe Perkins.
Good evening. Thank you for being here tonight. A 57-year-old man from Langford is dead after being stabbed last night in an Esquimalt apartment building. The victim is described as a hard worker, a family man who somehow got caught up in a situation that took his life. The homicide is now in the hands of the Vancouver Island Integrated Major Crime Unit. Investigators will try to determine how the father of three ended up in hospital fighting for his life, a battle he eventually lost. Even with all the police tape and pavement stained blood red, neighbors say it's a good place to live.
It's a great area. We love it, actually. It's a very real community feel and real close to everything. So yeah, we actually really like the area.
Last night was the exception. Just before 9, the tight-knit community became overwhelmed with flashing lights after Victoria police received word of a stabbing in the 600 block of Grenville Avenue.
Officers arrived to find a chaotic scene and one man unresponsive and suffering injuries on the floor.
Officers tried to revive the man performing CPR. Eventually, he's wheeled out of the building and rushed to hospital where he later died.
A second man was also injured in the fracas and is expected to make a full recovery.
Police say there were a number of people in the suite when they arrived, including a 49-year-old Victoria man believed to be responsible. The man was arrested near the scene and was taken into custody, but reasons for the attack are still under investigation.
No, we don't believe it was a targeted assault. These two were known to each other. It happened in this situation, so we don't think it was anything specifically targeted.
It's not the first time police have been called to this building. Usually the calls are minor in nature, never this severe. Today the building remained behind police tape with police continuing to patrol. The victim's family was also on scene telling CTV News they lost a father of three who was a hard worker. Luke Holland bought a house from the victim.
Nice people to deal with?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's very unfortunate.
The Vancouver Island Major Crimes Unit and Victoria Police will continue to investigate. Police say the suspect will remain in custody until a hearing is held sometime later today. A 56-year-old Qualicum Beach man is in police custody tonight after shooting at a house early this morning. Police say the suspect took a loaded rifle and fired multiple shots at his ex-girlfriend's home, hitting a 22-year-old man inside the home in the leg. The man was rushed to hospital but is recovering. As for the suspect, he's in police custody and will go to court on Tuesday. Police are recommending 2 counts of attempted murder. A 42-year-old man is dead after an incident on board a bulk carrier ship off the west coast of Vancouver Island. It happened yesterday afternoon when a large steel plate fell on top of the man, crushing him and cutting his abdomen. The man died as he was being airlifted to Victoria General Hospital. His identity and the cause of death have not yet been released. Well, the debate over Greater Victoria's sewage treatment plan is heating up. At a Capital Regional District meeting this Wednesday, a plan is in the works for 2 separate motions that would see the CRD challenge the federal government's wastewater regulations. Currently, Ottawa has Greater Victoria at a high-risk rating, making it mandatory for secondary treatment by 2020. The plan would see the CRD's risk rating lowered, potentially pushing back treatment upgrades to 2040. Esquimalt Mayor Barb Desjardins is one of the 2 CRD directors leading the opposition's surge.
You know, secondary sewage treatment isn't where people are going anymore, and it's the lowest minimum that's required even by the federal government. So why do we go to the lowest standard when we're trying to project forward for the future of the region? It just doesn't make sense.
Desjardins also says the CRD needs to work with scientists instead of working against them to find some understanding. The CRD is planning to build a treatment plant at McLaughlin Point in Esquimalt by 2018. Saanich Councillor Vic Derman is also putting forward the motion in the hopes of stalling the plan.
Well, I hope the committee will consider the motion and will, in fact, support it. It doesn't say don't ever do anything. It simply says let's stop this right now and let's negotiate with the federal and provincial governments to try to find a better answer, one that in the end provides a better environmental result and also does so at probably a better net economic cost.
For now, the CRD is set to share the $783 million price tag for the sewage project with the provincial and federal governments. Catalyst Paper is inching closer to completing the sale of its Elk Falls site in Campbell River. Yesterday, it announced it's received some of the prepayment of the $8.6 million site from Pacifica Deep Sea Terminals Incorporated. The sale includes the entire 400-acre industrial site and the adjacent properties. Catalyst has also agreed to extend the completion of the sale. The sale comes after the paper mill was closed back in 2010. Well, Jeneece Edroff is home. She got in last night exhausted and optimistic after a whirlwind week at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota, where doctors put her under the microscope. She was there for a second opinion on a surgery that doctors here in BC said would have left her paralyzed. The good news, she doesn't need that surgery, but she may need another. Jeneece and her family flew home on a private jet, landing just after 6 o'clock last night. The family says it is grateful and has a lot to think about after talking to doctors at Mayo. They say Jeneece has the option to have surgery on her leg to relieve her of the pain, but there are pros and cons that she needs to consider.
This visit was absolutely great. I don't know what I would have done without this visit. They gave me a lot more answers, and with the NF clinic down there, they know a lot more down there than they do here, which I'm very glad about, and we found out more information about it than we would have here.
Jeneece says she will take her time to come to a decision and could book an appointment for surgery in the next 4 weeks. That is, if she decides to go for it.
Now Jeneece has to sit down and figure out, does she want to have that tumor removed, because there are some positives and some negatives that go with that if they take it out. So I think she's leaning towards getting it taken out, but that final decision she can make.
Jeneece's mom, Angie, says the doctors in Minnesota were very impressed with the treatment that Jeneece had received here in BC. Welcome back. Tomorrow is Remembrance Day here in Canada, but for some members of the Canadian Forces on active duty, it's already November the 11th. The HMCS Regina is on patrol in the Arabian Sea. The Canadian frigate is part of Operation Artemis, a multinational task force conducting counterterrorism and anti-piracy operations. The crew of 225 officers and sailors will conduct their own Remembrance Day ceremony. Petty Officer 2nd Class Joe Dagenet grew up in the city of Regina and now serves on board the HMCS Regina. He's been in the Navy for 19 years, and this is his 3rd time to the Arabian Sea. Dagenet sees special significance in commemorating Remembrance Day at sea.
We're going to commit a wreath to the seas, and it's in honor of those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, no matter what conflict it is that they have served in. What we will do is we'll have a ceremony on the flight deck where all personnel who are not on watch are required to attend. They will attend, and they will pay their marks of respect in their own personal way if they are unfortunate enough to be on watch at that time.
The HMCS Regina has served in the Canadian Forces since 1993. Her home is at the port at CFB Esquimalt.